Here in Arizona, the first vaccinations could take place as soon as tomorrow. The first in line to get the shot, healthcare workers and residents and employees of long-term care facilities.
This is the biggest vaccine rollout in history, and so many of you have been reaching out to us here at ABC 15 with your questions. Tonight, we want to answer some of them. Our Cameron Pullum joining us now. And Cameron, you've been closely following Arizona's vaccination strategy. The first Arizonans could get vaccinated this week. Do we have enough doses for everyone in that first group, the healthcare workers and the people living in those long-term care facilities?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's all going to depend on supply. This initial supply that we got, for instance, into Maricopa County is only about 47,000 doses. Now, in Group 1A alone in Maricopa County, there are about 123,000 people within that population. At least that's what the estimates are from Maricopa County. So clearly, this initial shipment isn't enough to fulfill that order. However, we are told by state officials that we will expect to get more vaccine in weekly. That should take care of that supply, and we should see that given out in a pretty steady order. But we will also see an expansion of different vaccines come into the state, and that's really going to help make sure that all of those folks in that group receive the vaccine.
Yeah, all right. So, Cameron, for everyone who isn't in that first group, how will they know when it's their turn to get a shot?
Yeah, everybody's curious about when do I go get a shot? How will I know when my group is called? Well, right now, obviously, we're working on this 1A group, and that should take us into early 2021. That will follow up with Group 1B. That will be other essential workers, other healthcare workers, teachers, childcare, police officers. So that will take us closer to February. We're going to see more of the general population start to see vaccines towards spring. That's when we're going to get to more of those older than 65, those with severe comorbidities. That's about when we're going to see those folks start to see the vaccine.
Later this week, the FDA could vote to approve the Moderna vaccine. What's the difference between the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccines, and how will that impact the rollout process?
Now, that's the biggest point here. That's how we're going to fulfill the supply needs that we have. The Moderna vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine, the biggest difference between the two is the storage requirements. The Pfizer, as we've been talking about, is required to be stored at ultra cold temperatures and ultra cold freezers at minus 80 degrees Celsius. That's extremely cold, and freezers like that are not very common. The Moderna vaccine, however, can be stored at 0 degrees Celsius. That's just your common freezers that you would normally see at pharmacies. What that's going to enable us to do is send that vaccine, the Moderna vaccine, to more locations throughout the state, rural areas. There'll be more doctors' offices receiving that, more pharmacies receiving the Moderna vaccine. That's where we're going to see more of our population throughout the state get vaccinated, and that Moderna vaccine is going to play a large part.
Yeah, and all those vaccines so critically needed in so many parts of our state. Cameron, thank you very much. We know you'll stay on top of it for us. And we also know so many of you have a lot of other questions about the COVID-19 vaccines. And that's why tomorrow we're holding a live town hall during our newscasts at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Tomorrow we'll have a panel of experts ready to answer your questions. If you have questions about the coronavirus vaccine, you can email us right now at ask@abc15.com.